Hi, and welcome to the latest edition of Painting Film's amateur painting tutorials. My name is Jason, and in this particular video, I'll be using oil paints to show you how I created a lighthouse in just under 2 hours. For this particular painting, I used an 11-inch by 14-inch canvas. So I begin by putting a sketch of the lighthouse in using a light shade of gray. Then I put Gamblin Galkyd gel on the sky and where the water will be so that those paints will flow more easily and create the desired impasto effect. Then I proceed to do the reds in the sky, but before I get too far, I go ahead and put in the sun. I put the sun in first very deliberately because the yellows, once it mixes with blues, of course, will make green. So I want to go ahead and get that out of the way as soon as possible. Also, you'll notice that there's a barrier between the yellows and the blues that I make with red. That way it'll be into the orange hues towards the yellow and towards purple towards the blue, both of which are extremely acceptable to me. For the rest of the sky, I just simply put in colors that I like. In no particular order, no particular rhyme or reason, I just wanted to make it look like a warm, inviting sunset on a pleasant beach or coast somewhere. Again, the gel that is employed really makes the paint flow nicely and blend well into each other. Oils naturally blend well into each other, but hopefully you can tell here just how nicely it works. Finally, I finished the sky by putting a nice red border at the top of the sun, just to sort of seal it off from the rest of the sky. Then I set to work on the water using a mixture of sap green, Prussian blue, phthalo blue, and titanium white. The fan brush works beautifully for this technique and is very fast. Now I get to work on the island using just burnt umber, a touch of black, a little bit of white, some gray, and then I lay down yellow ochre for a base coat on the grassy areas and cover that with some sap green. I intend to return to finish that and give it more detail later, after I get a little bit further along with the lighthouse itself. And now I go to the lighthouse. I work on the tower portion first, and as you see, I'm using gray where I know the white's going to be, because I know gray is going to be one of my shadow colors, and it's easier to put those on first and then add the highlights with the whites later. I do a similar pattern with the reds, at least I attempt to. However, when I started blending with the whites, it made that process a little bit more complicated than I had originally intended. Then I proceed to work on the entryway using shades of blue, black, gray, and a touch of brown. Finally, I get started on the lighthouse itself, the area where the light actually emits from. Starting with the roof, which is made to look metallic. Then I go ahead and put in the actual light coming from the light bulb. Again, I want to use the yellows first before I mix them with other colors so that they don't get corrupted and polluted. Go back down to the tower, work on some more details, cleaning it up, adding 2 windows. Then go back up to the light itself to work on finishing off some of those details. I use a mixture of lamp black and Payne's gray with a script liner brush to provide the panes that you see. I use the same script liner brush in titanium white, very thinned with thinner, to provide reflections glinting off of the metalwork. Finally, I make the one error that somewhat irritates me the most on this painting, and that is when I put in the railing there around the light, it's not exactly straight. Go back to the windows, work on cleaning those up. And then make my way back down to the grassy area. And my hope is that at this point you can see just how the gel medium works its magic. When the fan brush bristles touch the canvas, you'll notice they leave a really nice impression behind that looks just like grass. So it doesn't turn it into mud, but instead it gives it a nice definition. So after putting a little bit of highlight on the tower itself, adding some breakers against the shoreline, as well as a reflection in the water from the sun itself, this painting is just about finished. The only thing I have left to do is to add the light coming from the top of the tower itself, breaking my rule of yellows by going and bleeding into the blue there at the top. Because of this, I had to lay it on pretty heavily, but all in all, I think it worked pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Hope you enjoyed this fast video. As I said, it was pretty quick and easy to do. Didn't take me more than 2 hours. Hope it helps you with your work. I appreciate you watching. And as always, I thank you for your support and wish you happy painting.